Yeah,
So hello and welcome. I am so pleased today to have lovely Katya come back and share another Why Healy story with us. It was too good a story not to share because, you know, some people purchase our amazing Healy frequency device for health and well-being, but you know what we're finding out? There is so much more potential for this small yet potent device. So I'm going to hand you over to Katya so she can share her amazing story that actually I think this is the third story now that I've heard along these lines. So please share your story, Katya, because it's absolutely fascinating and amazing.
thank you, Jackie, for having me here today. Yes, it's absolutely amazing. And I bought my Healy for my physical problems, so my health issues, but never before that, it actually didn't occur to me that how much I can use the Healy for, what other purposes can be, and things like that. It's just, it just doesn't pop in your mind what could be done with this. So my story of finding a lost dog um, in a wilderness of Scottish Highlands, a huge wild area, and the dog has been missing for 5 days. So where it started, my husband is a drone pilot, and we often get requests to help with missing people or missing animals, mostly missing animals, missing dogs, to find, to scan the area and see if we can find something. So we had this request of missing dog, just a little tiny dog. Um, but the problem was we couldn't do anything for about a week, not a week, it was about 6 days, because of rain and winds. You can't fly a drone in these conditions. So, we can go out, but I know people been looking for this animal for 5 days, trying to put food for it, to see if dog would come out and eat or something, but there was no sign of it. Groups of people, groups of walkers, I think even professional stalkers who do all the deer stuff were looking as well, but there was no sign. The animal completely disappeared from the face of the earth. Not a sign of it. So one day there was a good weather, so we decided to come out with a drone. My husband decided to come out with a drone because he could fly. So just before leaving my house with this drone and start getting ready, I thought, why not to take my Healy just in case? I didn't plan it, didn't think about it, but I took it. At the place when we unpacked, the area was overwhelmingly huge. I mean, it was miles of nothing, miles of slopes and trees and swamps and all that stuff. And thinking, goodness me, we're not gonna find the dog. It could be anywhere. But anyway, I love my husband doing his stuff with his drone, and I set off in this little tiny path to look for some sort of clues where this dog could be. And whilst I was doing this, I thought, well, why not I just, fire my Healy and doing scan on this dog just to see what comes up. And I didn't have very much information. All I had the picture of the dog, his gender, and his name. I didn't have when he was born, where he was, just nothing. So I did the scan, and it showed that his aura was a bit low and things like that. And then I put it as the focus for the dog to be, the focus. You can put the custom intention for the dog to be found safe for everyone, meaning for the dog and for people who are looking for him. So I set that off, was walking around. It was probably about half an hour before my battery packed up on my phone because I couldn't charge it, I couldn't do anything. Well, I couldn't find anything. It was difficult and impossible in some places, and I thought, well, it's not going to happen. If this animal alive, if there's any tiny chance this animal alive, is probably not here anywhere. So we packed up, all cold, all disappointed, went home. 2 hours later, my husband get a message that dog has been found. After 5 or 6 days missing and not a sign of this animal, so many people looking for him, just not a tiny little clue he was there. He was found where he went missing by one of the people who was looking, or some of the people found him, and that's, of course, I burst into tears, obviously, of joy. It was so overwhelming. I didn't think that would happen, and I'm pretty sure it's down to Healy, because there was no chance. There was no chance of finding this dog, and it was so incredible, the feeling of, this win with this, and what this machine can do. I mean, that's possibilities are endless.
I know.
And then I started experimenting with it and doing all sorts of my custom focuses and all sorts of things. And so in the future, I definitely will be participating in more dog finding places, or maybe people finding places, events. So that story,
it's just
it's quite.
Katya, for people listening might think, what? But actually, you're not the only one. I mean, this is what is so amazing, because I mean, it was a lady in Glastonbury that brought my mind, first of all, or my focus about, the possibility of finding lost animals, because again, like you, she'd heard that the dog, I wasn't sure if it was hers or a friend's dog, had been missing for 48 hours and no sign at all. And she chose to program into the Healy, and again, like you say, a specific focus for the dog to find its way back to the original car park. And after she ran the program, 2 hours later, I'm sure that's what it was, the dog arrived back in the car park that it started out in. I mean,
that's incredible. And it's very difficult to describe. I mean, how on earth it works? How does it happen? And it's just, I don't know, it's mind blowing. I can't find words for it, but it's just endless possibilities with this machine, isn't it?
I absolutely get
and
that.
actually thinking about that, we had a wildcat sanctuary approaching us for drone shoots. It didn't go ahead for some reason, but I was thinking, because they were trying to track a wildcat, which is endangered species here in Scotland, and very shy. It's very sort of you're very lucky if you see one, and they try to discover more areas for these animals where they are. And they asked my husband for drone shoots, and I thought maybe I could do that with my Healy. Unfortunately, it didn't go ahead. But
not this time.
Sorry?
Not this time, but there's possibility.
Not this time, but I think the possibility is there. I mean, this kind of ability to do something for a charity like that would be mind-blowing. And I'm so excited I should try to do it. I might try to do it on my own. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, when I first got mine, I had no idea the possibilities of the Healy, and I'm finding, probably like yourself, I'm learning and learning more and more and more, and more amazing stories keep coming out, of things I wouldn't have even thought about doing. Even the fact that when we do an aura scan, we can actually program the Healy to be so specific. And I've been working with somebody with their bank account, and because they've got challenges with something going on, and we were able to be really specific about what this person wanted. So we're waiting for the results of that to come in, which I'll be
I'm sure they will be amazing. I'm sure they'll be amazing.
So just fascinating. So the more we find out, the more abilities this amazing device has, because we know that on a cellular level it's about rebalancing ourselves where they're imbalanced, but also we know it helps us emotionally, energetically, and so many ways. And now to find you can find a lost, I know I shouldn't laugh, but to find lost dogs, I mean, it just goes beyond my comprehension at the moment.
I know. I still can't comprehend it, but it's what it is. It's what it is.
It is. And
Our mind is completely, I think, turned upside down. Our thinking is being completely turned upside down because we
well, our minds can't always comprehend what's going on. And you're frozen on me at the moment. I see you've come back fabulous at the moment. You know, and earlier you said something about not, you know, the technology. Now, you know, I listen to the founders of Healy and their science, because obviously we all know it's very science based. And I listen and listen, but you know, their knowledge sometimes just sort of really goes over. It's almost like I've now realized I don't actually need to know the technology. I listened to a webinar where one of the Healy technicians, I don't know if that's what you call them, was being interviewed about, you know, the frequencies and how they worked. And the interviewer was asking, well, how do you know? How do you do this? And this chap turned around, he said, well, do you know, if you took a photograph of me now and you went to stick it on WhatsApp and you asked me, how does that happen? I wouldn't know. He said, because I don't need to know. I just know that I can do it. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, he was saying he knows the frequencies, that's his job. But actually, we might not need to know. We just know that it works.
Yeah, well, it's exactly the same. We're talking. I'm in Scotland. You're down there in the south of England. And how does this happen?
I know.
We can't even touch it. I mean, how does it? I don't know.
Yeah, but
it works,
isn't it? You know, I've been doing like energy work for years. So with the other therapies that I do, you know, aside, I mean, now I'm able to bring in the Healy with some of my work, which is awesome. But I can work with people around the world and I'm working energetically, and they'll come back and say, this has changed, that's changed. You're thinking, I'm sat here, you know, in Romsey, and they're the other side of the world. How? So I have to let that go and just absolutely trust that, you know, there's powers way beyond, you know, what my mind can think at this time. But you know what, Katya, I'm so grateful for you sharing that story because it's just amazing.
I'm so excited to share because it is incredible. It is
Also,
absolutely
you know, there might
incredible.
be somebody on here that's listening that, you know, this could really help and might be so curious that they would like their own Healy, or, you know, there might be other reasons why, you know, they might want to, you know, either invest in a Healy or have somebody else use a Healy for them. So I'm sure your story is going to go to lots of people and inspire a lot of other people to find out what else their Healy could do for them. So
absolutely.
Katya, thank you so much for giving us your time today. And
thank you, Jackie.
As always, meeting up with you, it's been such a pleasure. And I look forward to when we talk again.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. And for anybody who wants to keep hearing when we collect more Why Healy stories, please subscribe and like this channel. So, you know, when we find new stories and more people come forward with their stories, we can share them with you, and keep sharing our Healy and keep sharing what's possible with it. So anyway, it's goodbye from us now, and thank you.
Mwah. Jackie, you're frozen.